All right, game number 5 of today's Patron coaching live stream. Everybody, King Hunter with the white pieces, and let's see this opening. It's a Catalan, I think, c5. Okay, all right. Sideline here. Already your opponent is in some trouble because he early committed to playing the knight to d7, which you could have exploited here by taking on d5. Knight takes and queen to takes d4, and now we see knight would love to come to c6 but cannot, and the queen is very strong on d4. Bishop c5 could be answered by queen takes g7, so this would give you a nice position already because queen central on d4, which cannot be pushed away. Very nice. Okay, but also knight takes d4 is nice. e5, knight f3. Here knight b5 was another good option as well. Just something else to consider, bring the knight back to a3. And really black is struggling here because his center is under fire and he is behind in development. So you're having good chances here. d4, e3, just opened up when your opponent's king is still in the center. Use the d5 square, put pressure on the e-file, and the knight on d7 is also just misplaced here. So the opening has gone quite well for you. Also after knight f3, I think you're doing well. Now you gave a pawn here, but you have the development, so this is completely fine. And here you go rook d1, and maybe you're missing your opponent's threat a little bit, that he wants to go rook b8 followed by b5. He cannot go b5 right away because of knight takes. Of course you saw that, but you need to address this threat, and this has to do with prophylactic thinking, right? What does my opponent want to do next? What is his threat? And if you see that, you might get to a conclusion that rook d1 might be a little bit slow. Bishop g5 was more to the point here. And now with rook b8, you can just take on f6. This is also the threat, right? Take on f6, get the knight to d5, knight takes f6 is in the air. This is pretty decent. For example, queen c6, queen a5. This, now trade, play knight d5 back. And black is in an awkward situation here. You have the advantage. So bishop g5 to have this idea taking on knight d5, which will not be easy to defend for black, and also develops the last minor piece, opens up maybe the rook coming to c1. This all makes sense. I think here already you could say it's somewhat of a critical position because you sacrifice a pawn and you know time is money here. You need to do something fast because if black gets some moves in, if he consolidates, he'll be a pawn up and you're with the back to the wall, as it happened in this game. So this is critical. Play the right moves here and you'll do well. If you don't, you might end up in trouble. So in these situations, especially if you sacrifice a pawn like this, take your time to find the right way to do it. Okay, rook d1 makes sense, right? But it's not threatening too much. b5, rook b8, excuse me. And here you go wrong. Actually, there was an interesting choice. Now you go bishop g5, but it's one move too late, unfortunately. Knight takes e5 was very interesting. But tough move to play. And yeah, if you play bishop g5, one move early, you would not need to spend time with such complications. Point is queen takes e5, bishop f4, going after the rook. Even though also this is quite unclear after b5. And here now queen c7. Very interesting move, but the bishops are shining here and black is stuck in the center. This looks promising. b5 is the more critical move, and here beautiful lines, knight takes d7, and black doesn't really have a good way to take back. If it takes with the bishop, it's queen takes a6, takes with the knight, you can just come back to c2, knight d5 in the air. But what if he takes the queen? Well, this is a queen sacrifice, but great compensation here with the bishops, and black would probably be advised to either give the queen back here or a little bit later, right here, he has to give the queen back when the position is maybe a bit better for you, but close to equal and very complex, obviously. Knight takes e5 is a candidate move. Not an easy move to see, but you always, especially in situations where you're up in the lead of development, if you're having an initiative, you want to look for such sacrifices. Just look for them. But okay, to sacrifice the queen like that, not an easy thing to do, right? This is why the more critical moment was one move earlier. Also here it's critical, because of the bishop g5, you end up in a worse position. Black plays b5, gets a harmonious pawn structure, and is about to consolidate. And now it's really, you need to do something, because otherwise you'll just be a pawn down. And this actually reminds me a game we analyzed in another live stream where you also gave the c4 pawn, didn't get it back for the rest of the game, and lost without a chance. And this is pretty much what we're seeing here as well. This is, yeah, unfortunate, not necessary. Here you still have chances. You could go knight to d2 and then bring the knight to e4 and have some chance attached to getting knight to d5 maybe. The knight is pinned right now because bishop takes e7. And again, what I also said in previous games, today pose problems, always pose problems. That's the key in chess. Pose as many problems as possible, no matter if you're winning, losing. Whenever you pose problems to your opponents, there are the chance for your opponents to go wrong, and they will do so sooner or later. That's just the nature of the game. We all make mistakes, and we make, well, more mistakes if there are problems to be solved. Here, you get another chance to go knight d2. You play knight d5, which looks good at first, but then, as we'll see, it doesn't really do much for your position. Knight d2, and again, you have compensation, and it won't be easy for black to win this. He's a pawn up, but now it's also opposite colored bishops, and won't be easy to convert. You can definitely pose a lot of problems, and that's your task here, being a pawn down. After knight d5, yes, the rook looks active, looks nice, attacking the pawn, but black just goes bishop f6, and he will develop the bishop to e6 with tempo. So here it seems to me you didn't look far ahead. You just saw, okay, active rook on d5, attacking a pawn, but then where's the follow-up, right? Where's the follow-up? And it also only is helping black in this case. So yeah, that's just a little bit about calculation, seeing a little bit ahead. b3, bishop e6, rook back, castle, knight d2, rook fd8. Now you play knight d2 after all, a little bit too late, unfortunately. And here you had one more chance. You had one more chance, but here it's already very, very difficult to get back into the game, as we'll see. Earlier it was easier. Here you have to really find only moves to stay into a game. It's tough. It's better if it doesn't get to this place, but you could have done this. Knight takes c4, which is fantastic in a way that this works. The point is that, yes, black can win a piece, but it just cannot get out of the pin. Queen c2, and he cannot get out of this pin, and you can play queen e4 here, and then e3 followed by bishop f1, win back the piece, and it's completely equal. It's a very nice line. Of course, there's some other lines. Black doesn't have to go for this. You can also play rook bc8. Actually, now achieve the same position, even in tempo up, and still, it's not winning if he takes, because you can play queen a4, it just doesn't get out of the pin. Bishop g5, but here again, still only moves. e3 loses because of takes, and queen to b6. Queen to d3, winning the rook. But rook c2, followed by bishop e4, bishop d3, and again winning back the piece and being all right. It's fantastic. Probably black's best tries to go queen c5, but now you also go e3, play bishop f1, and you're in the game, right? You're still worse, of course, will be uncomfortable against the bishops, but you're in the game, you're fighting, you won back the pawn, and you're fighting. And that's all that matters, right? Still posing problems. So tough line to spot. A lot about calculation and not stopping too early. I think most people would stop here thinking, okay, he'll support the bishop with rook c8, I'm down a piece, this is lost. But then to look further and see, okay, cannot get out of the pin. But this is tough stuff, right? Even for grandmasters, this would not be easy to see. So best to not get into the situation in the first place. After knight e4, nothing to be done. Nothing to be done. Here I thought, okay, knight c3, probably best try, defend the pawn, maybe get something to d5. But if he plays rook d8, honestly, nah, there's really shouldn't be any chance. Pawn down against bishop pair, it's also passed, potential passed pawn, just no chance. So here, 2 pawns down, it's too much. Even if you're able to split the bishop pair, there was no chance and you had to resign right here. Unfortunate, because it started out so well. Nice opening play here, put on pressure, sacrifice the pawn. You had a good feeling for it that this would give you compensation. That was true, but you didn't have the right follow-up. In the critical moments, you played the wrong moves, right? So if we go back here, first not playing bishop g5 and then not sacrificing in this position on e5. So these are just the critical moments, and since you missed it here, then you had to defend, you had to struggle for the rest of the game, and then it was tough. Then it's tough, and then it can go bad, of course, right? So this would be my analysis for this game, okay? And I hope this was helpful. I hope this was valuable, not only for you, but also for everybody else watching. Hope you guys can all take away something here. King Hunter, if you have any questions, as always, let me know. But I think you're improving. I'm seeing it in your games, and you also told me yourself, you feel it, that you're going forward. But of course, there's so much to learn chess, and we all still always make mistakes, even the best of the best. Just make a little bit less mistakes, that's all. But yeah, it's just a very complex game, difficult game to master. And I hope that with this game analysis, I can provide some guidance on your path to improving, and to everybody else on this channel. That's why we're here, right? So this was my live stream, Patron coaching. I hope you guys enjoyed it and took away something here. I'm getting a little bit sore with the voice after talking for 1.5 hours straight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to subscribe, and then I'll see you guys again very soon on this channel. Bye bye, guys.